so happy to have you guys on our show today. This is Over the BS with Blair and Sadé, and we are talking about Hollywood.
Hollywood.
La La Land.
Where the streets are made of gold.
Tinsel Town. Dreamland.
Yes, Hollywood.
You know?
Dreamland.
Dreamland. I want to go to Dreamland.
Girl, same. Do you see them boys working at Dreamland?
Oh, yeah. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what we were talking about, you need to watch Hollywood on Netflix. It's Ryan Murphy's show, and it is incredible. Absolutely amazing. A total reimagining.
And there's some beautiful actors and actresses. That's all I'm going to say.
From the when the show first started, I was just like, oh, you're just filling it with hot men. Just hot guy after hot guy. Just,
Girl. And you know what? I'm like, Ryan Murphy, Netflix gave them a big budget with all them A-list stars. I'm like, dang.
Heavy hitters.
But you know what? It does relate to the topic at hand, because today we are talking about the fake entertainment industry, okay?
Yes.
Like me and Sadé, if you don't know, we're entertainment journalists, but it's not that easy. And there's some things, especially as Black hosts, that we see and have dealt with that not a lot of people know.
Yeah. Totally. There's a lot of stuff that we deal with it's just extra. We're tired. We're over it. And one big aspect that I'm so over when it comes to Hollywood is the Rosa Parks section of the red carpet.
Oh my God.
A lot of Black outlets are shysted. They're thrown in the back, the end of like a 30-foot carpet. And by the time celebrities get there, they're tired. They don't want to talk. And, I don't really even think it's always on the celebrity that they're ignoring you. I don't think that's always the case. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, I bet they're tired. There was like 500 people ahead of me. But then also, I've seen publicists kind of like grab them and shoot them away like, oh, that's all we have time for, and kind of like pulls them off. But if you throw a question at them, they're still answering it. Yeah. They'll even lean back and be like, oh, so it's like, no, they want to be here. They want to talk to us.
Honestly, that's part about being a host. That's what kind of like is the thrill of it all, when like there's a big A-list celebrity. It's like the last celebrity walks on the carpet. I remember when I did the Dolomite
and they're always, main carpet. The main person celebrity is always the last.
Always last. And Eddie Murphy was walking on the carpet. He was the last one. And I'm like, I'm getting this interview. And then, at the end of it, they're like, okay, you guys, the premiere's starting. Like, everyone has to ask him a question. You guys only have 30 seconds. You know who asked him a question first? I'm taking every opportunity, sis. So you obviously have to have initiative, but yes, there is a Rosa Parks section of the red carpet. I'm sure that many of you guys have seen the video of my friend Emerald try to interview Halle Berry, and Halle Berry's publicist was like, nope, she's busy. And Halle Berry's like, no, those are my people. Because Halle Berry knows what's good.
She does, totally. And like, it's true. There's a lot of celebrities that are totally down to, but their teams dragging them. And I know that they have these time constraints and things like that. But when the whole affair is being put together, why not mix it up? Why are all the multicultural and Black outlets at the end? Because then, they spent 20 minutes with extra or something. So then of course they're out of time, and it's like, you got to give or take. And the thing is, I think when people do that, they kind of bank that like the multicultural dollar, the multicultural message isn't as important. Like there aren't as many people watching. It's like, little do you know, sometimes there are more people watching, more people ready to invest in that film or that show or whatever that celebrity has to say. So it's like, don't devalue it.
Yeah, and especially if you get an exclusive, it doesn't matter at that point, because a lot of the people that are in the front, like Entertainment Tonight's and the extra, they don't do the research. I'm not saying the media outlets, because obviously I would love to work for them one day, but I'm saying like some of the reporters, they don't do the research. So if you're doing your research and you're at the end of the carpet and you ask the question, the $1 million question, and you end up on the Shade Room, honey, you're good to go.
And that's another thing too, is I feel like most of the viral pieces that I've seen, that I see on Twitter, like over and over again, the ones that jump up on Instagram, the most viral stuff it's hardly from the heavy hitters, entertainment networks. I hardly see it come from them, which I just think is like so interesting. So it's like, no, don't like devalue, discredit some of the small players. We are all here. We all have a message.
We do.
But there's also, another treacherous part of the entertainment field, and that sometimes are your own colleagues.
Yeah. And that kind of reminds me, because if you don't know, this podcast kind of originated something fake that happened to me and Sadé.
Our origin story.
Our origin story. So pretty much, long story short,
our hearts,
Sadé, we had a podcast with an entertainment outlet, and our third host owned it. He owned the network and
his outlet, yes, and
there was a lot of fake things going on, like him interviewing celebrities when we weren't there. There's like a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes that me and her didn't even know about.
Yeah.
And then when he decided to cancel the podcast, me and her were like, "What? Like, where's this coming from?" And then
it was. I think one of the like a huge qualm I have with it is just like lack of communication from the upfront.
Yeah.
And that's what made it start to look shady after a while, because it's like, okay, we're trying to say like, let's book this guest, and you know, you're saying, of course I can get them, and you can't. Okay, that's fine, just be upfront.
Or you're just offering to
but then when we
guests,
finally get them, why are you booking it when we're not there? Like, that is.
Well, let me say this instance. I will say, I'm not going to say the person's name because I do still have respect for him, but I will say that the whole, you know, the last straw, I think, for me and Sadé, or like when we knew that something was really wrong with the whole podcast, was when Parker McKenna was supposed to be our guest and she was really late, and Sadé couldn't do the show because we were doing an early show that day. So it was just going to be me.
Which was relayed way earlier.
Yeah. And so I was there for 2 hours waiting for the celebrity show, for Parker to show up. And then I left, and so did, well, I thought our other co-host did too. And then the next day, we get a notification that there was an interview by us with Parker McKenna. So after I left, a couple hours later, Parker came back. The third co-host came back, and he did the interview by himself. Now, but mind you, by that time, Sadé was available to do the interview. So it was like, okay, so Blair left, I'm gonna do the interview, and then Sadé could have still did the interview, which I don't think that was intentional, but I think he still should have told us and been like, hey y'all, she's here, do you want to do it? It was still very shady, very shady.
Yeah, you totally been like, you know, this is running super late, but guess what? We can still do it instead of going ahead and doing it behind our backs. Or even, here's the thing, but even after this is still not totally okay with me. Yeah. But if you did it and then still told me after, because we didn't find out from him, we saw it posted on the outlet's social media page. Now that was a problem. It would have been different if he was like, hey, you guys, she just showed up, and you know, I decided to record it. Maybe I should have asked you to see if you were still around. I'm sorry, but like, I don't know. I was like, let me just make sure and do this, because I get it. Sometimes people freak out when the celebrity's here. Sometimes you feel like there's a lot of pressure because PR teams, whatever, they want you in, out, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, we are professional, we do understand, but to just like go ahead and post the content and not even tell us. So we're just like,
girl.
Oh.
But that's part of this whole show. We're over the BS. We're over the BS because it's happened to us directly, but we know a lot of people where it's been worse. So Sadé, tell me just something for you personally that's happened to you in the industry, whether it's been like fake friends or fake opportunities. Just share, please.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like you can encounter a lot of fakeness in this industry, and I feel like there are like fake friends. Like, I've had ideas stolen. So I'll give a little example. I'll make it long story short. So I lived in New York for a little while.
Good idea.
And that's where I, after grad school, I got, cut my teeth in New York before coming to LA, even though I was like originally from LA and I had done some work here before I went to grad school. Yeah, so there's that. Anywho, so I meet a few other journalists. They want to start their own outlet back then. And I was like, sure, that's awesome. So I contributed stories. I was like pitching ideas, and since I'm a video person, they all have writing backgrounds, and I have, my degree in broadcast journalism. I was like, hey, I want to launch some more of our video content. Like, let's do some fun stuff. And at that time, I pitched this idea where I said, I said, let's go in the street, because it's New York. I said, and just ask people, let's do MOS and ask them like random like situation questions, like really fun interviews that could be super interactive. And we're like, would you rather this? Would you rather that? All that kind of stuff. And they were like, oh, cool. That's a cool idea. Like, yeah, maybe that's something we can try. And I pitched like a few others for me to do because I'm the video person. And kind of like what happened with us, with the other outlet.
Almost said it.
With the other outlet is, I just saw the video posted on YouTube, and I was like, wait, so you actually took my actual idea and then executed it without me, and I'm the only person who's an actual host, and broadcast journalist. That doesn't mean to say that you guys can't be on camera, but like, don't go on camera with my ideas.
Or
And
like tell me, like say, can we do this? Like that's what makes it shape.
Yeah, and it was two of them. So I like called the one who was like heading it up and talked to her about it. And she's like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. And it sucks to think that I even had to strategize about how to even talk to them about that. Like I talked to my sister who's really good at like this kind of stuff. We're always like, you should be a lawyer because you're really good at like with words. So she just told me, she's like, yeah, you need to like tell them, you know, you're the person with the actual credentials to do it. So why would you guys do that and like execute it improperly? So yeah, protect your ideas, protect your creative content.
Yeah, and protect
because
it
people
even when
are vultures.
Yeah, and when you're applying for jobs and they say like, what are some of your ideas? Be very, very, very vague, because they will still take your ideas. If you're applying for a job, they might be like, well, he's not getting the job, but we got some of these ideas.
Example numero dos. Now, from me, I know I've encountered the lot. I think I told you a little bit about this. I will keep company names because these are now big heavy hitter outlets that we're talking about. But I was applying for a job with one of my dream companies, and this was going to be for a written position that they also have a video department. So I was like, get in there and I'm going to like finagle and I can do it all because I do it all now. Anywho, so I pitched they had me do an edit test. I pitched some ideas. You know, you have to answer some of their stuff and then you pitch your own creative content. And I have something that's so, I had an idea that was just so original and close to me because I'm a huge Rihanna fan. Like Rihanna is my everything. I love her so much. So I pitched this really creative idea that I could predict her next hairstyle based on a timeline of her previous hairstyles.
Oh.
It sounds... Yeah, I had a whole science behind it. There was like a chart, everything. Yeah, so it was a really bomb idea, right? Because who else would come up with that but someone who's a stan, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't even email me back to say that I don't get the job. But then the next week I'm on their website and they do something similar and they call it like, they say that it's like a math, like a Rihanna math type thing.
Oh,
like
God.
A calculation sort of thing for her outfits and her outfits.
Instead of hair.
Yeah, I did a thing on hair, which I was like,
so they just switched some things around. They're like, we won't.
That's extremely similar. Like,
oh yeah,
it was still pretty
much the same. It was pretty much the same thing, except instead of analyzing her hair, you're analyzing her outfits.
Yeah, like, and I would like to come from a good-natured, place and be like, you know what, maybe I'm wrong, but that hit too close to home for me. So
the timing of it all.
I just caution everybody out there, like, be careful, especially also when it comes to even just applying for jobs. I will say there's another company that I had applied to and was like going through all of their process. They actually have you sign a contract that actually says that they will not use any of your ideas from your edit test. Like it is against their policy to do that, which I think is great and it's good protection. And that company was like a few years later than the first company. So I don't know if everyone has adopted that now or not, but I would say that's a good lesson if you're applying for jobs and they want you to submit an edit test. Ask them if they have that sort of paperwork or submit it with your stuff and be like, I have this requirement on my side. Because that just shows me that sometimes companies may be hiring fake opportunities to maybe even get ideas. I don't know. Now, Blair, I know you've encountered it too.
Oh, God.
I know you've encountered something fake. What are you over?
For me personally, I have two things, but first is it goes along with the fake friends thing.
Really, we're downloading on you guys. Let it all out.
Girl, I'm over this BS.
Let it all out.
I am over fake friends who like invite you to these parties and events and then they don't get you in. It's like, why did you invite me and tell me you can get me in and then not even come out and get me? Like, if your name's on the list and you have a +1, come get me. Or if you tell me that I can come to this party and that I can get into this party and then they tell me that I can't and you're still at the party and you don't leave with me, you're a fake friend. Do not waste my time like that. Yeah. And like one time, listen, last summer, shout out to my friend Tay. She's PR out here. I'd get booked to events. She would get booked to events. I'd be like, okay, girl, come to mine. And then after that, we'll go to yours. You know what I'm saying? Like we used to
like tag teaming.
And if I couldn't get into something, she would get me into it and vice versa. So it was just one of those things where it's like, you know, I have a good friend that I can go. It's like a culture. You go to these events and you hang out with the same
so many people, you network, it's all good. It's all fun.
Exactly. So that was the first part. But when I first moved here, there was a lot of times where there was fake friends where they're like, oh, come to this event, you would love it. And you get there and it's like, girl, why are you inviting me to places? You can't even get me in, sis.
Now tell me, I want to pause. So this fake friend,
yes.
did they want something else from you as well? Because they're inviting you and they're saying you can't come in. Was there anything else that they were trying to?
For times after that, they would hit me up and be like, well, there would be times where they were like, hey, can you do this for me? Or can you, you know, can you get me into this? Or can you possibly, maybe we could do this interview together, or maybe you could film for this for me. You know, it's like, no.
So they were setting up like a fake networking so that they could use you later for services.
Yeah, but still it's like, okay, girl.
I'm not your videographer.
You invite me to this party and then you don't even come out to get me. It's just like, what is the point? Especially if you're a girl, you have more chances of getting to an event, and God bless them. But it's like, come on now. Yeah. But the second fake opportunity, now this one really hit home. So I was pretty much working for this PR agency. Cannot say the name. I'm trying to learn from you and not say the person's name. So I was working for this PR company, and I was getting paid a certain amount every single month. It was great. And then I started realizing like something's just not right. Like when they were doing their portfolios for their clients, like things weren't spelled right. Things weren't right. Something wasn't right. And then I was
we had spelling errors. Yeah,
a lot of spelling errors. And it wasn't even them. It was like their clients that they had. Like their clients were just questionable. It was like, this isn't right. It got to a point where they were telling me, hey, Blair, we want to start a network. Would you be interested in hosting? So then we're having meetings to start this network. And then it was like not even a real thing. It was really weird. But anyway, they were just having me do all this work and nothing was making sense. The girl would say, hey, Blair, I just signed this big A-lister. And I'm like, okay, who is it? And I'll tell you next time we see each other. But it was every time, oh, he decided not to do it. Oh, he decided not to do it. Oh, you know, it's like, no, this is sketchy. So then I was getting paid by check every month. And then my checks were coming late. And then my checks were not checks. They were coming in cash. And it was just like, okay, something's not right. I can't. Like, this is too...
Wait, why is it coming in cash?
So sketchy. And then,
why is it coming in cash?
Oh, yeah. And then the owner was telling me, like...
Cash money.
Blair, do not accept the money from my assistant. Only accept the money from me. And then her boyfriend, who wasn't even with her, she was like, he gave me the money. And I'm like, okay. And then she said, Blair, I told you not to ask the assistant. And I said, I didn't. Your boyfriend gave it to me. She's like, yeah, only me and my boyfriend. And I'm like, girl, you and your boyfriend weren't even together. Like, this is some weird... So that was one of the things where they were saying like fake opportunities for me to stay and have me working on that same like budget that's all those months. Because I was doing so much work that I could say like, hey, I need a raise. But there's a lot of fake opportunities where people will lead you on as if they have something for you that's really grand, that would be your dream. And it's not real. They just use that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is awful. And, you know, that's another place where, you know, people like to prey on vulnerable people who just got here, or when you're hungry. Because sometimes you're hungry, and when you're so hungry, you don't think clearly because you're just thinking, I need to get as much content and as much experience as I can possible so that I can get to whatever the dream job is. And sometimes the dream job might be the one that shites you. So
I was so oblivious.
But that's why you kind of have to go, you do end up going through some of it. You don't want to walk through Hollywood in fear at all. But you live and you learn, and at least it wasn't anything that was, you know, extremely terrible. You know, hopefully they didn't like shiest you for like thousands or anything crazy.
Oh, like no. But see, that's the thing is that
you
like,
need to have your eyes open.
When you're in those positions, you don't even know if like it's okay for you to leave. It's okay. So if I leave, like, are they going to talk about me? Are they going to spread lies about me? Are they going to do this? Like, there's a fear of being blacklisted in Hollywood.
I was just about to say, I was going to like, there is a fear because like, just like how we are on this podcast and we are not saying the places that have done us wrong.
That's the reason.
It's weird because it's like, we're still protecting them and their brand, but also thinking, you know, we're protecting ourselves. But at the same time, it's almost like doing ourselves a disservice.
Yeah.
By not even sharing who it is, because they're the company that's out doing wrong over and over again to how many people.
Yeah.
So you're just tarnishing your own name when that shouldn't be the fear, because you've come in the right way, doing it right and communicating, and you're just there to do the work.
Period.
You just want to do the work.
I'm just trying to live my dreams, y'all, and you're in the way. Like, you keep offering me all these fake opportunities, and it's just like, they're duds. But it kind of reminds me because that something else fake recently happened that I told you about like right away about that whole copyright thing.
Oh,
Girl.
you guys, like, he's been going through it, and it's not even that, like,
It's not even that deep.
do you want to tell the fine people,
but pretty much the same person that owns the podcast that we worked for before. I did an interview for him. Should I even say the celebrities? It doesn't matter. I can say the celebrity names, can I?
Why not? You did the interview.
I'm not saying their name. Okay, so I did an interview
and you killed it, by the way. So
thank you. I did an interview with Blac Chyna's mom, Tokyo Toni, and if
check it out, y'all.
I'm just gonna say she's a character. Okay, so our interview went pretty viral. It wasn't as big as like the Proud Family story, but it was pretty good. But I did an interview with her, and right after I did the interview, I posted it on my I have a blog called True Hollywood Tea, but I posted on True Hollywood Tea to like give it some buzz before it posted or whatever. And so I was just posting on the blog too because I haven't posted anything on it in forever. So that was in November, okay? A couple weeks ago, we are now in May. A couple weeks ago, I get a notification for copyright infringement. I'm like, what? I didn't copyright infringe nothing. I filmed this interview. I did, everything was by myself. I did the interview. I edited it. And partly why I edited it was because I wasn't getting my name put on the other videos. I was having them edit it and they weren't giving me credit. So that, for example, that Proud Family story that I broke about them coming back, I didn't get any credit from like the Shade Room. No one added me. Reporters added me because they're like, okay.
I saw and I was like, I was tagging you. Everybody I know that knows you tagged you.
Everyone that knew me tagged me. And some people that I didn't even know tagged me. They were like, oh, good. You know what I'm saying? And I got a so good following from it, but it's still like, that's just like the low down thing that this person did. But again, they did something else low dirty and they did copyright infringement because technically it was for them. However, it was not for me to do anything malicious, and they did like a copyright strike. And I'm like, oh my God, they're petty, because he could have just called me and be like, hey Blair, I saw that this there.
That's the bigger problem too. It's not like this is some outlet that you don't know at all. It's like you were in the actual interview, and I get like, okay, it was filmed for that outlet, but he knows you as a person and could have texted you and said, hey, or called you and been like, hey, do you think? And
I want to clear this up. It wasn't monetized. I was not getting paid for it. Let's have 1,000 subscribers. My blog just started. I did not have 1,000 subscribers. It only had like 95 views too. Like it wasn't that deep. So I'm like, okay,
you already got the views on, was it like Twitter?
Yeah, it was on Twitter and the Neighborhood Talk. It was its own thing because the Neighborhood Talks broke the story. And I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous. Like, this is just, at this point, it's just petty. Like, you're doing this just to be petty. I have no time. This is evil. So now I got a podcast and we can talk about it.
Yeah, I have a question for you. How do you feel about places you've worked for not putting your, like, we've touched on this a little bit, like, with that particular outlet. But have you worked anywhere else where they haven't, like, put your name on, like, a lower third, or they didn't put it in, like, the info box?
I did it for All Urban Central. I'll say their name because I actually respect them. All Urban Central, I edited my own content. So whatever I created, they posted, which they would add me. If there was something afterwards, they would involve me. Like I felt like included by them. Nice. But the other outlet, on the other hand, not so much. Girl, I was on Teen Vogue. I was on Teen Vogue, but my name wasn't. That's my thing.
You know what?
My press page.
Next time,
on my press page.
Next time, I'm like, email Teen Vogue. Email whoever wrote it. All their emails were at Hearst. Updated.
I never thought of that.
With your name in it. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Girl, God bless you, girl.
Sure. And the thing is, they probably did their due diligence and wanted to cite their sources. But if it's hard to find, you just go. They got to keep moving. Everyone has their content goals. But I do feel you on that because there have been places where I've done work for actually pretty big interviews and stuff, and they did not put my name anywhere in it, and it's just like, okay.
I did all this work. And that's my thing. If you're shooting by yourself and you're editing by yourself, like you're doing all the work, why are we not at least being credited? Especially if we're not being paid. Because some of these outlets don't pay.
I will admit that I didn't edit it. Like it wasn't my job to edit it at all. But the good thing is that I posted a clip on my own Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And because like I had done that, and I guess the fans were like so into that clip that they like found it and were like, oh, that's you.
More with your content.
They're the ones that were like, oh, like I found her on this, and like they're the ones doing all the digging. But I was kind of like, oh,
yeah, because some of these
I don't even have a lower third.
Yeah, some of these media outlets they're just using the talent. They're like, okay, well, if you want to do this for free, you can interview Eddie Murphy for free.
Yeah.
1,000 views, and that just puts money in the owner's pocket.
Oh, wait, so I want to have you repeat that again about Eddie Murphy, because it went fizzled out a little bit.
Oh no.
But, so but I want to make sure we get this whole thing. You guys, of course, we're over Zoom, quarantine, stay home.
Yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties.
In LA,
we're doing our best. So pretty much I said, if I'm doing an interview with Eddie Murphy and, it gets 50,000 views and you're not paying me and you're not giving me credit, that's low down. At least give me the credit that I deserve. If I break a huge story, don't just put at the name of the company and not at the person that's doing it and putting all the hard work.
Sort of like a little payout from the monetization or something.
Period.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I get, the need to want to cut your teeth and to like, you want to get there and you want to do like the big interviews or whatever you consider the big interviews, and everyone deserves to be. But I think there is a certain point where I know people say you need to hustle in the beginning and the money shouldn't matter. It's like, yeah, but after you've had a certain amount of experience, but you also have bills to pay, the money matters. The money matters.
Yeah. And I always tell people, okay, your first year, if you can do as many interviews you can your first year or 2 years, after that, do not work for free. Like literally, I got all my crap done, most of it my first year here. But like I would say my first year and a half, I actually got everything done for my demo reel. But now I'm almost on 3 years. So like I had updates. It's just, you're constantly updating it. But I say when you have that demo reel, your first demo reel done, at that point, it's like, okay, well, I have all these receipts of all the interviews I've done. It's time for you to pay me.
Yeah. And let me backtrack really quick, because I don't want my words to be twisted at all. Yes, the money matters. No, I'm not saying like the world revolves around money or you should work for the love of money, but you need to eat. And at a certain point, you always, deserve to be paid for your worth and how much you worked and your time that you took to create a great project for them. That also needs to be reciprocated. Maybe it's not always in money. Are they at least buying you lunch? Are they paying for your parking? Like, you deserve to be treated as a working part of their team and as talent, and that they care for you and you're not just like a disposable host. Yep. And yeah, maybe hosts are a dime a dozen, but when you're putting in the good work, they need to show that love too. Just like, you show up on time, you're prepared, you've got bomb questions. Like, the least they can do is pay parking, get you a meal.
Pay for parking, get a meal, at least drive you or something, do something. But no, I totally agree with you. There has to be something that comes out of it at the end of the day, because it's more than, people just don't understand. It's more than, and this will be my last point, it's more than just doing the interview and editing it and then sending it. It's the preparation before. You guys don't, like, it's hard to get sometimes even on a carpet. You have to book the carpet. For Albany Central, we were booking carpets. We were, coming up with the questions. That's a whole
sport on its own. Girl. There's the whole networking thing that I don't even know if we really touched on this fully, but
oh yeah,
you want to genuinely network with people, and when you're in this field, and I feel like sometimes even, as a reporter, people have seen like the work that I've done, and I feel like they just try to like network with me just for like what I can get them, and I will get emails that are just like, and this is how I know that it's only for that, because it's usually after I've been on a really big carpet. Like, they saw me in like some nice dress or whatever with the background and all that stuff, and they want to email me like, how do I get to do what you do? That is literally an email I got. How do I get to do what you do? Didn't even really have a name, didn't have a link to anything, to prove that they're actually interested in journalism, because it's not about the fame. Like, you're not going to get really like fame like that. You're not going to get like money like that. It's not about that. It's about the like storytelling and, the stories that you want to tell. And I just think people really need to look out for that and know how to network and genuinely network, because the biggest turnoff is having somebody just, oh, like, how do I get to do what you do? Or like, I want to be a host too. And it's like, well, why? Yeah. Like, show us why. And I can't stand the fake emails also from our own fellow colleagues. Like, yeah, I know y'all want to be here, but
y'all got to put in the work. But for me too, it's the people that you love to do this. And they're like, oh yeah, like let's set up a meeting. And then when you set up a meeting, it's like, you don't hear from them ever again. It's like, okay, do not like, have the treat in my hand, in my face, acting like you have something for me when you don't. Like, I've worked really hard to come right, to get to where I am. And I want to learn from you to grow, and not even just to grow, but I want to learn from you. And like, it's, it's like you want to learn
and build and also build like genuine friendships. Like, I actually like to get to know people, like what's going on in your life. Like, it's fun. Like, hello, we're hosts. Like, we're people. Like, this is what we do. So, I mean, I enjoy learning about people. And I think the proof is right here. Like, Blair and I, where did we meet first?
We met at,
I can't remember.
Meeting? We cut that out.
AfterBuzz?
Dude, cut that part out. We met at AfterBuzz.
AfterBuzz. So we went to like their just like orientation meeting, and we met there, exchanged emails and phone numbers, and then actually later texted each other and we're like, hey, do you want to like go to like the bar, like grab a beer or something? And we went and we talked and like got to know each other and talked about the industry. And we've kept in contact, and now, we're sitting here with this podcast. So, and we're actually friends. Like, we hung out on like New Year's Eve, Halloween was something else. But you see, like, we were actually friends like before this podcast even came to be. And like, you don't have to be buddy with everybody, but like whoever you want to network with is like a human. They are a person, like, period. So please don't just.
But if you're going to work with someone, be very careful, because sometimes it is easier to work by yourself on certain things. But like, if you're going to do a project, make sure it's with someone that you can tell the truth to. And I'm not saying like you're always right, but I'm saying like your truth of how you feel. Because like me and Sadé, like sometimes if we don't like something that each other are doing, we tell each other like, hey, like, can we work on this? Or hey, it doesn't ever come from a bad place.
Exactly. Period.
That's how you take away from the fake. You gotta get rid of the fake entertainment industry.
That's how you can weed them out too. Like, if people text you like once and then they're gone in a poof, or you give them one thing of like constructive criticism, and then they're off creating podcast episodes without you. Like, took you a second to get the tea. I'm just kidding. But like, in all seriousness, I think you can sort of pick up the red flags of like who actually cares about what you do. And I feel like I'm just going on a rant, guys. I'm just letting it all out. But I don't know, does this happen to you? I am also always really shocked, and I don't think it should be this way, but I'm always really shocked when somebody says that they actually want, like, oh, I loved your interview with this, like when you said blah blah XYZ, and I'm usually taken back just because I'm like, you watched it and you enjoyed it, because I feel like so many times people just see a picture of it and they just go off of that with like, I saw you interviewed, Jet Li, or you did Chris Evans and blah, blah, blah. And like,
I get offended by that.
And then they just want to like,
I get offended by that. Is that bad? Like when I go home and people are like, I saw your interview. I saw that you it's like, it's not, I saw your interview. I saw that you interviewed. I saw that you did, but did you see the interview? What did I ask? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I went to school for. I didn't go to school just to interview people. I went to school to
period
of interviewing. Okay.
Period.
Okay.
Period. Because people are always like, oh my God, like, how was it to interview so-and-so? And I'm like, yes, it was amazing, because, like, I have something genuine to ask, and I like want to talk about it. And I think, a lot of people look to celebrities for guidance on different things, or just want to know their perspective because they're huge movers and shakers. So it's like, did you watch it? Did you get
that? Or people are like, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that? And it's like, girl, these celebrities are just people. Like, they're just people. Yes, like, if I hung, like, if you think about it, if you met a celebrity and they're like, hey, do you want to hang out after this? You want to go get drinks after this? Like, okay, yeah. And then you get to know them. It's completely different.
Yeah.
Like one time I interviewed, what's it from B2K? Who's
one?
The one that's always in trouble? The bald one.
Was it Raspy?
Yes, Raspy.
The one who gets
girl. I interviewed Raspy. And after I interviewed him, I went to the party or whatever, and he came up to me. He's like, I just want to say that you did an amazing job. I'm like, oh my God. And then TT, who plays Blame It on Quay, he dresses up as a girl.
Yeah.
After the interview, he changed his voice and goes, great job, man. I'm like, oh. That's what I love. It's like,
Yeah, like, yeah, when you hear that, especially when you hear it back from this celeb, I think it's such a good feeling to know that they were like, okay, like that was okay. Like I didn't interview.
What's your most awkward interview?
Awkward. I don't know.
I'll tell you mine.
I would. Oh well, the thing is, I feel like I do have awkward interviews, but I like adjust so it's not awkward, and I don't take it that way because then I think I don't want to freeze up or anything.
Okay.
I will say, I interviewed Tracy Morgan for The Last OG, and he just didn't like that I used the word. Okay, so the whole thing is about this guy getting out of prison and going back to his neighborhood, and it's gentrified.
Yeah.
And all the PR press materials were about, Tracy's coming back to TV and like his huge comeback. So, first we're asking like, well, first off, like, how does it like really feel to come back and, to return to TV? And he's like, I'm not coming back. And I didn't come back. And I'm like, I'm kind of like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, don't call it a comeback. And I'm like, okay. And then, so I just was like, what would you like me to call it? I was just like, let me just go with this and be like, okay, like, Tracy, what should I call it? What word would you love me to use? And he's like, to continue. I said, okay, yeah, well, tell me, how does it feel to continue? And then it's kind of funny. He goes, it feels
into it. That's the best part.
He said, it feels good to come back.
I hate him. He didn't have to say that. He's so funny. I interviewed him.
It feels good to be back. I was like, okay. So I just felt like, I feel like sometimes internally for me, I'm like, in your head, you're thinking it's awkward, but when you see it, it's not actually awkward. Yeah. So I think we make the adjustments. Yeah. Did you have anything that was like super awkward?
Oh my God. The most awkward interview where I felt like this is so awkward was Don Cheadle.
Really?
Yes, it was so awkward. It was like he wasn't feeding off my, because I'm very like happy.
I was gonna say though, but I can already tell that he usually already has like a disposition. Like he's always kind of like.
I didn't realize that. I thought he'd be more like, outgoing. I think that's the best word. Regina Hall, my girl, like my favorite. Me and her, our personalities were like bam, bam, bam. But him,
who's a pretty girl?
But yes, Don Cheadle was the most. You can go watch it on True Hollywood Tea. It was very like, I didn't know. Like I tried to ask him questions, he wasn't going in depth. He was trying to give me one word answers, and it was like a week after the Endgame came out. Mm-hmm. So I was like, how does it feel to be part of like a huge franchise like that? That was like the last question. It was just like the most, response. So
do you think he was just like
tired? Maybe he was just having a bad day,
or do you think he was just like tired and like kind of?
He might have just been tired. I didn't think he was I didn't think he was mean or anything. I just think that he just.
It's just like the energy is lower.
The energy was not there.
That happens. Sometimes you just gotta turn it around.
It's a struggle. That's the real part of the entertainment.
And like that's what people don't see is like those moments. What else you don't see is the fact that I'm standing at the Grammys carpet 4 to 5 hours before it actually starts in heels. While my menstrual cycle is going on full blast, okay? So like
not full blast.
Oh my God, I was like, oh, and the thing is like, you guys, this is right TMI, but I get nauseous. I had to one time we were gonna record and I had to cancel because I was feeling so sick. Blair, remember?
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh yo, I just threw up. Like, so I get really nauseous when I'm on my cycle. So like I'm at the Grammys and literally I'm like standing over the bar, like people are like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. As soon as like a celeb comes by, I'm like, everything's fine. Like you don't see the moments like, everyone's pulling it together. They don't see, it looks glamorous, but like there are a lot of different things that are going on. You have to arrive sometimes hours before carpet begins. So now you're starving. Women well, maybe not just women, but like a lot of people are standing in heels or, we're in uncomfortable situations. And that's something that you don't see on camera, but you're going to have to deal with. So is that worth it? Is not being paid for a few years worth it? Is being underpaid worth it?
What was your big first carpet? And then we'll be done after this.
I can go. Mine was like, what was my big first carpet?
When was it? Like, damn.
I would say years ago. I want to say it was either the American Music Awards. I also did a few movie carpets before I moved to New York.
Got it.
But I want to say like big. I think it was American Music Awards.
Okay, that's good.
It was so good. It was so fun. Yeah, it was like, you know, they're fun. They're fun in different ways, and they're like they have their cons.
Yeah. Mine was Teen Choice Awards 2018. That was like that's when I was
Teen
like,
Choice Awards. Oh, fun.
but that was like the first, because it was that summer. And Teen Choice Awards was like the end of the summer. But
I've never done the Teen Choice Awards, and I think it looks so fun.
It was a lot. It's not as strict. So like, you know, celebrities just go in and out. You know, they don't have to like go in like this perfect line like the American Music Awards or whatever. Yeah. And then like celebrities will come behind the carpet and they give out the workers gave out free pops. They like popsicles.
There's some carpets that they treat you like they're so nice. I think they're grateful for you to be there.
All Fox carpets, I'm there.
That's amazing. When I did Disney's Aladdin, okay, they didn't do this for other Disney premieres that I've done, but like they gave everyone Subway.
Yeah.
Or Subway was in on it. They were like, yeah, they gave out I was like, wait, we're getting food? Like they're giving us food. Carpets, you do not get food. Junket, you'll get food. But I was like, what is happening? And they were boxed. Like there were chips in there, there were drinks, they were just passing them out. And that carpet was long. We almost didn't get Will Smith until I chased him down 2 times. And when he saw me, he said, "You again." And I said, persistence is key. And he goes, "Yep." And there we go. So that's another story.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for watching this episode or listening to this episode. You know, the fake entertainment industry is real, but if you want to succeed, you will make it happen. Okay. That is the lesson for today.
Yeah. We shared a few gems. We shared some pros, we shared some cons, but in the end, you know, just know that you have to hustle if you really want it, and, you know, it'll all work out.
It'll all work out. Well, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm Blair. You can follow me at IamBlairT.
I'm Sadé. You can follow me at Sadé A. Spence on all the socials.
Yes, and make sure you guys follow Over the BS Show on all socials as well. Well, you guys, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, bye.